Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to the May 8th version of the Team Reidsville Huddle. We started this several weeks ago to just kind of get together. I think as Garska's called it, it's been kind of our fun weekly wrap up. Sometimes not so much fun information, but it's been nice to get together and just talk about what's going on in everybody's sector, how we can help each other, and how we move forward. This is our first of probably several weeks to come where we start discussing what the phasing looks like as we phase back into business. As we know that 5 p.m. today, the phase 1 starts. And it doesn't look very different, but we're going to talk about how it does look different, but more importantly, how you start being prepared for phase 2 and phase 3. And just kind of wanting to know what kind of questions and what things the businesses are struggling with. I've invited folks from all different areas. It does look like we have quite a few folks on today. So if we need to break out into topics, we have people who can talk about payroll, HR, legal. We've got people who've applied for and people who are responsible for helping people apply for some of the different grants and things. We've got economic development folks on here. So we're just going to kind of go around the room first with some of our folks who are here and who have things to share. I'd like to start with the mayor. If I'm going to put him on the spot, I know he's here and I know he can't stay for the whole call. Jay, do you have anything that you would like to say or add to what I've said, or just to anybody in general as the mayor of Reidsville?
No, just thanking you for organizing this, and this is a great outreach that the chamber is doing, and thank you for taking this leadership role and doing it.
I appreciate it. Missy has been the other half of about everything I have done for the last several weeks, and the chamber and the Reidsville Downtown Coporation have worked really hard to try to make sure that we have been a great resource, and we've been backed by Jeff and his partners, Tracy, and using the county and Adam as a resource. So it's been really wonderful. And then we've just brought in chamber members who have those capabilities to do those things. So thanks, Jay, for being supportive and being here. So I kind of wanted to jump into some of the things that Missy and I put together, but I feel like we need to know who's here and kind of roll call a little bit. So just a quick and short, I'm going to just start with the order of my screen. Christina is here with us from Paychecks. Just tell everybody kind of who you are and why you're here today. Oh, and you're muted. Do you need, I'll unmute you. There you go. Go for it.
I'm Christina with Paychecks, and I am here today to kind of give you guys some of the resources that Paychecks has been offering to small businesses, and you don't have to be a Paychecks client to access this, where it is getting us ready for phase 2 and 3 of reopening, and some of the compliance and policies that we will need to do, and some of the issues that we are going to face along with our employees maybe not wanting to come back. So I'm here just to give some free stuff and hope it helps in any way that it possibly can.
Thank you. Jeff, you're up next in my screen, so I'll unmute you. If you just kind of welcome and tell everybody kind of what's been going on with you.
Yeah, our activity as far as, kind of business development's been really good. We, like I mentioned last week, we've got a couple of, we've been working with a couple, but there are others outside of our knowledge, excuse me, that have expressed interest in the Commonwealth Factory. So we're hoping that something good will happen there, and that it'll involve jobs, not just the purchase and decommissioning of existing equipment, which they've had some folks looking at that as well. So that's been really positive. We are one of 3 sites left for another recruitment project, looking at the industrial park, and been working with Lee Cochran and Carrie and the county team on that, putting together a package now that we should be able to brief City Council on Tuesday night. We're the last site left in North Carolina. There are 2 other states in competition, but we feel good about where we stand as far as the top 3 there. There is another project looking at the industrial park. So activity such as that is actually surprisingly going pretty well. Still hearing, some of our industries are some of the ones that were shut down temporarily are kind of up, back and running, and I'm not sure full speed, but it's good to know that they're back in business and bringing people back to work, and that it didn't have I can't speak for them, but it didn't have a lasting effect to where they had to shut down permanently. So let's put it that way. If you've driven down Scale Street, you've seen the new trees. Hope you like it. We're going to be hanging art panels on the two sides that face north and south. So that's something we're going to be talking about this afternoon, getting some local artists to do that. So that's forthcoming. I think it'll make the big planners a lot more palatable to the eye, and add obviously to our downtown art movement. And we're excited about that. We had a whole crew working the last couple of days to get that project finished, and I know it's been a long time coming. Probably something that Eric Smith mentioned to me today is something that's been in discussions for probably a dozen years or more, or half a dozen years or more. So, certainly has been since I've been here 4 years. So we're happy to have that project just about wrapped up. We'll be getting lights installed, LED lights that go up into the trees. We will be putting the string lights back in the existing trees. I know everybody likes those. There are going to be different lights, a little bit bigger bulbs, nice and bright, and everything's going to be solar. So we'll have all solar powered lighting for our trees downtown, which is kind of cool. Let's see. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I'll let everybody else kind of chime in.
Okay, great. Thank you. My co-host, Missy, do you want to just give an update on the Team Reidsville Together and Bingo?
Yeah, sure. We launched the program, has it just been a week now, Diane?
Yeah, a week.
That's hard to believe. And so we have sold $6,500 worth of gift certificates in a week. And that money has already been delivered to the different businesses. And that means that will be matched by the $6,500 donation to be split between ADTS, Salvation Army, and Reidsville Outreach Center. So we are really excited about that program, and hope that quickly we'll max out on the $20,000 match, because that means $20,000 worth of community help, but also $20,000 straight to these small businesses as fast as we could put it together. So we're pretty proud about that. And we're still running our takeout bingo. We had our first prize drawing last Tuesday. We'll have another one this Tuesday, but encouraging people to get takeout from our local restaurants. Did I forget anything?
No, I think that was perfect, and it was quick. And yes, and so for a total of, when we reach very quickly, I think we will, $40,000 going back into our community to help. And I'm super proud of that. So we are really excited about that. So thank you. All right. Also, really quickly, let's go through. I was going to try to grab some of the other folks who are here for resources. Susan Reagan, are you around that you could pop on really quick just to tell everybody where we are with the stuff with the SBA and what you've been working on?
Sure. Things have been a little slow. Still just answering a lot of questions from small businesses. Very general questions, including unemployment issues, which I'm not as familiar with. So, but I will say that the state, through the Small Business Center Network, is trying to get funding, and will be yay or nay on May 15th. Additional funding to be used to help small businesses in the community, and that those funds will be needed to be used by December 31st. So I'm trying to get with all of you, the leaders, to kind of come up with a way in which that I could use these funds through the community appropriately and where it's needed. So I will be reaching out to each of you, and maybe in an email kind of way, to kind of brainstorm ideas. So hopefully that will it will come, and hopefully it will help a little bit to do some outreach and to maybe give dollars out to businesses, but be able to, through education, training, extra counseling, advertising, marketing. I'm not sure yet. So we'll see what happens. I'm optimistic.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Erica, I know you're here with us from the environmental health, and I know that phase 1 does not change anything for the restaurants, but I know that we need to be being prepared to move forward for that. Do you have anything that you'd like to just say about kind of where we are with that?
Yeah, I absolutely do. So, of course, like you said, not much is going to change with phase 1 for most of our businesses. However, phase 2 could begin as short as May 22nd, potentially. If everything goes well over the next 2 to 3 weeks, then we could potentially move into phase 2, which I know a lot of people are eager to get their businesses back open. However, we want to make sure that everything gets done safely as well, and that we are protecting our people as best we can. We don't have a lot of specifics about what phase 2 will look like. Obviously, everybody's very vague at the state level about what this is going to mean. However, in other states that have opened restaurant dining rooms, there have been limitations to their capacity, and I expect to see that for us as well in North Carolina once we get there and open up to phase 2. I imagine that restaurants will need to provide at least 6 feet of space between their tables. This may give them a good idea about how many tables they can actually seat, like what their capacity is going to be once phase 2 begins, so they can start planning, like how many staff members they're actually going to need, as they move forward. My understanding is phase 2 is going to include like the high touch businesses, hair, nail salons, tattoo parlors, the restaurant dining rooms, then of course gyms, swimming pools, movie theaters, bars, summer camp, and then your worship centers or churches. I'm pretty excited. North Carolina, DHHS, and the NC Restaurant and Lodging Association's Hospitality Education Foundation are working on a training specifically on COVID for restaurants, designed for restaurant people. Dr. Ben Chapman with NC State University Extension is actually helping to develop these. The first of the trainings are expected next week. We will be sitting on a webinar on Tuesday to get more information about this. Do not think there's going to be any cost, but I can't say 100% because we don't have enough information to let you guys know that. There will be specific trainings designed for managers, back of the house employees, front of the house employees, and then cleaning staff. They're going to get a certificate to post inside their establishment to show their customers that they participated in this training and they passed it, and they'll have a certificate of completion. They'll also be able to use the Count on Me NC logo in their marketing and promotional materials they're going forward. And we will be sending this out from environmental health to all of our permitted establishments as soon as we have enough information to provide. And then of course, there's many things that people need to consider when they reopen. Masks for employees, hand sanitizer for employees and guests, hand washing policies, making sure that your employees understand the hand washing procedure, the when to wash, the how to wash, where to wash, and that they're following those as close as possible. Disinfection of your frequently touched surfaces, making sure the disinfection product that you're working is good for your establishment. Pay attention to these manufacturer instructions and read the labels. Each disinfectant comes with a contact time, and if the surface isn't wet for that full contact time, then you're not getting the disinfection of that surface. And the other problem that we've been seeing is that people are skipping the clean step. There are 2 distinct steps. There's a clean step, and then there's a disinfectant step. You have to clean the surfaces first before disinfection. So then also making sure that they're following the social distancing, that they need to start health screenings of their employees. That includes taking temperatures and asking about symptoms. Potentially installing plexiglass or divider barriers, touchless payments, cross-training employees to cover, potential absentee employees. And then also, if they can, this is a suggestion from the CDC, is increasing the ventilation rates and increasing the percentage of outside air that circulates into their system. And so this is the best information that we have right now. Of course, everything is subject to change, and they can follow back up with NCDHHS and CDC or myself and those of us at the health department to help them. Anything we can do to help, that's what we're here for.
Thank you so much for the update, Erica. I know that in our discussions between you and I that things weren't going to change really for phase one, but as you said, and we'll expect to probably see some of the similar things that have happened with the state. On the screen is one of the images that was provided by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services. Missy and I have created a folder, Reidsville Resources Returning to Work. It's a Google Drive that's got several resources we'll be sharing after the call. But this is just one of the signages that they have provided for the businesses to use. We are also, in talking to Erica, I was talking to some of our member restaurants, and they are, you know, not going to, some of them are not going to open, even with those restrictions, because they have, their space is so small already, and they're not comfortable with following some of those restrictions. So they're going to be continuing to just do the carry and dine out. And we just need to continue to support our businesses the best way that we know how, and encourage them and lift them up as they make these hard decisions about what they think is best. I know we also have with us Jacqueline, who is with Cone Health, and I'm excited to see her today. And Jacqueline, I'm gonna let you introduce yourself and tell everybody kind of who you are and what your role is and how you could be of help to folks.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Like you said, my name is Jacqueline Hayward, and I'm the business liaison for Cone Employee Health and Wellness. And pretty much I am your go-to person regarding any occupational health services that your business employers may need to help with their employees at the workplace. Today, I wanted to share with you and Jessie, I thank her for inviting me to your group today about a return to work screening that we are affording all businesses and community members, regardless if they are current business clients, that are complimentary for their workers as, you know, people start to return back to work. And with these screenings, because I think initially there may have been some confusion when we had put out in certain newsletters and briefs about it. This is not just free testing for COVID-19 individuals. What it is there was quite a few, I guess, people in the community that may have been symptomatic or asymptomatic, but not enough to actually at the time, you know, with the testing being so limited, receive a test. So, you know, they may have been self-quarantined, that kind of thing, but there are some concerns with them going back to work. These are the individuals that we're affording the screenings to. And if there's anyone out there that knows a company that may have had, or if you've had people that have tested positive, but what we found too with the individuals that have tested positive, the health department seems to be doing a really pretty good job following those individuals with providing them the documentation that they need to go back to work. But if for some reason they do not have that and need some assistance with that, you know, certainly we are here to help those individuals too. But all they would need to do is reach out to myself, and Diane does have my email information and everything, or my telephone number. And what I would do is just forward you a form where you could list the individual's name, contact information regarding like telephone, email, and then one of our providers will reach out to them and set up a screening. This usually takes less than 24 to 48 hours for this to happen. So it's a pretty quick turnaround, but we do suspect within the next couple weeks, things are going to be ramping up, but we still want to be able to have that quick turnaround for everybody.
And Jacqueline, I will make sure too to include your information kind of in a follow-up call, from a follow-up email from this. So thank you so much for being willing to join us today. I appreciate it.
Oh, sure. And what I'm going to also do is, Diane, I will put you on, because I don't know if you're currently getting our briefs. We pretty much put out a brief weekly.
Okay.
You know, every now and then it may be a little off, but a brief weekly with updates about different services and things that are being provided. And then there's also a monthly newsletter. So I'll certainly get you on that. And then this is, you know, a good way to disseminate the information to the group. And, you know, certainly I'm willing to join the call at any time if we want further information on those services.
Okay, absolutely. That's great. I do get a few things, but I don't know that I'm getting that particular brief. So that would be wonderful.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'll check and make sure you're on that distribution list.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So kind of covered a few of the things that I wanted to cover before we hopped into the slides. So Missy, I'm going to share those so that you can go over them really quick. We just have a few slides. We kind of wanted to make 5 points, you know, that people need to be discussing and thinking about as we're moving back into opening their businesses back up. So I'm going to share that for her so that we can go over that. All right, can y'all see that? Hold on, Missy, I'm gonna unmute you. There we go.
So first, just some slides about what does it mean as we move to phase 1. So you can see the first column is what we're under right now, and then moving to phase 1, how we're opening business. So retail 20% is allowed now, and 50 as of 5 p.m. You'll be allowed to have 50% of the capacity, and you know, gatherings are still keeping at 10. Should we move on to the
Sorry,
next one?
trying
Okay.
to.
The restaurants and bars are still takeout and delivery only. Salons and barbershops are still closed. Theaters and music venues are still closed. Gyms and playgrounds are still closed. We still can't visit at long-term centers, and we're still encouraging face coverings. And so I think Diane showed that sign later that we have available if you want to print it and put it at your place of business. But it talks about the W's to wear a covering on your face, wait the 6 feet apart, and wash your hands. So just really quickly, you know, 6 steps that we think your business should take to reopen, which is building a plan, respecting the social distancing, how you interact with your customers, what you tell them, what's your cleaning schedule, how are you advertising what your plan is, and to respect the process. And so, you know, you do need to build an actual plan with written points about how you're going to address this. And you want to create a punch list of what the new protocols are going to be for your employees and make sure that they understand the plan. Diane, do you have anything to add?
No, my biggest thing I would add to that is in the resources that we're going to provide to you all, there is more information about actually building a plan or having a checklist. And there are some checklists that are already made, both from the state and just in general, good resources. So we'll be sharing that link, and you can go to that to get some information. You don't have to start from scratch.
And so we do want to continue to follow social distancing, and we do want to give indications to customers. You know, we've all seen the stickers or the colored duct tape on the floor that says, whoops, we went one too far. That tells people helps people stand the 6 feet apart, you know, signs that clearly state how many guests are allowed in your place of business. And again, the state has a template for that sign that we have available in that Google folder, you know, marking your doors, entrance only, exit only. You may need to consider plastic shields in front of your checkout counters. And even if you're not going to open now, the time to create this plan is now. The time to shop for the materials that you need to protect yourself and your staff is now. And how are you going to interact with your customers? If you are a by appointment only, can you make it easier for your clients to schedule online, for instance? You're going to need to check your supplies. And as I said, start shopping now for what you need. You also should look at, do you need to rearrange your store as far as your customer flow to try to allow the adequate amount of social distancing?
And I was going to add to the supplies. We do have a couple of folks. We have a couple of our chamber members who were selling small to large hand sanitizer. I know we've got one on the call. And then Jeff, can you tell us about what Hennigus had sent as a resource?
Unmuted. Yes, I got an email this morning from Chris Eckert, who's the plant manager at Hennigus Automotive. If I read the email correctly, they created their own batch and have the ability to produce, I think he said like 500 gallons more or something like that. But they had about 100 gallons, I think, additional that they weren't using, that they had offered to any, nonprofits, any organizations, basically anybody in the community that needed it. So I had sent it to Diane and also to our Reidsville Industrial Alliance, and I'm not sure who else it went out to, but hopefully the 100 gallons has been spoken for now. It went out to a lot of people in a hurry. So, but that was a very gracious offer for them. They're one of the businesses that some of they make products for the Ford F-250, 350, and Super Duty trucks. And Ford had a shutdown during the crisis several weeks ago, and without their largest customer up and running, they're not up and running. So they had a temporary shutdown, and they're back in business as of last Monday, this week. So we're happy to have them back up and going in the community, and our police department worked with them to set some cones out in their parking lot down there. So they could kind of get everybody as they're coming back to work, single file line, make sure they can check temperatures, check any potential symptoms as people are coming into the plant. So another example of our local industries who have done a great job kind of being innovative and proactive and on the forefront in a hurry, really on the fly, in how to handle this crisis without really compromising the quality and the quantity of the products that they make, which we all know are essential to our community and to their customers. So, kudos to them for making that offer, but also for adjusting their business model, in the midst of a crisis when really nobody knew what to do initially. And Diane, and Missy, that those were the calls we got, a month ago was, what do I do? I don't even know what to do. So we've gone from what do I do to a lot of our companies, small and large, have really stepped up and done some innovative things and unique things to help their employees be safe, but also not really disrupt their business as much as possible.
Yeah, so along with this slide, and to add to that, Jeff, thank you for that. These are some of the examples that we wanted to talk about. The Sherwin-Williams in Reidsville has done a really great job. They have folks stopping at the door and they're taking their order. They're not even going inside the business except for to pay for the transaction. Pete's Burgers and More has been a great example of a restaurant who chose to revamp the inside of their dining room and use that space in their building to be able to protect their customers and protect themselves and protect their employees. And I just really, hats off to him for being creative. He actually told me a personal story. He's raised 2 doctors, and one's on the front lines as a lung doctor in the ICU in Charlotte. And he said she threatened to disown him if he didn't figure it out. So, there's a little bit of to be said for just being creative. I think people now more than ever need to know that your customers need to know that you are looking out for your employees, you're looking out for them, and they need to know what the plan is. And so that's something that Missy and I have talked about a lot. So Missy, I'm going to turn it back to you to let you kind of carry on with that.
Yeah, so that's actually the next slide. That after, oh, nope, that's the 5th slide. Sorry. Okay, we'll move on. We'll get to that in a minute. So, you know, your cleaning schedule, and as was said earlier, you need a cleaning schedule and a disinfecting schedule, and consumers want to know, and I'm sure that you've noticed a lot of national advertisers have been, lately, that's been their advertising sales point. You know, I can't remember which pizza company it is, but they talked about how it goes from the 400-degree oven straight into the box. Nobody touches your food, so it's safe. So I'm sure you've noticed a lot, or, you know, a Walmart. There was a Walmart commercial, and they were talking about how they're shortening their hours so that they can clean and disinfect overnight. So obviously that's important to us as consumers. So as part of your COVID-19 plan, you need, you know, a written, strict cleaning schedule. And then you need to tell people what you're doing, because that is a thing that we're looking at as consumers. We want to know what you're doing to help keep us safe. You know, for us to come shop with you or visit your restaurant when that's available to us. So you want to, you know, you have a website, chances are you have social media accounts. So update those with your plan. People want to know, what are you doing? You might want to make a video of, you know, here's how we're sanitizing, or here's the changes that we've made in our store to better allow us to social distance, etc. You might want to make, you know, your takeout, or your, you know, you might want to look at ways customers can pick up what they've purchased instead of coming inside. How can you do curbside delivery? And ask your customers to not only give you reviews, which is always important, but ask them to mention that your store is really clean, or that you know that they're taking extra measures to clean and sanitize for the customers.
And I think I would just add something that we have seen, you know, in other states, and Misty and I have talked a lot about this. She's got a lot of resources with the North Carolina Main Street program and other main streets, and I have a lot of resources with the other chambers, and kind of seeing what the other states are doing. Some of these bullet points, they seem silly or not worth the time because it seems like a short few weeks, but I think the point that we're trying to make is that we're in this for a while, and things are going to be different for a while, and we need you to understand that if you want your business to be successful, some of these things, the have fun, showing pictures of your staff cleaning and smiling. I've had comments about how some of the businesses, just like Pete's that I mentioned, you're still getting smiling customer service when you go, and that really seeing pictures of people standing 6 feet apart in lines, or that the plexiglass has been installed, like those things matter to folks. And I wanted to say, like, I know that sometimes updating your website's not as easy, but we know that social media is, and making videos, and the chamber and Missy and myself, like, we have been working on a lot of different things. We're happy to help with some of those things if you have questions or need to know where to find resources. So don't be afraid to ask us about that.
So that leads us into the last slide, which is, you know, that we've talked about this a lot. You know, information changes nearly every day, sometimes within the day, within the hour. So, you know, things are going to continue to change. We're moving into phase 1 now. How long will we be there? We're not sure. You know, will we slide backwards? Gosh, we hope not, but who knows? And so we're going to be here a while. And although a lot of us are ready to get out of our house and do things, other people are still cautious and frightened. So if you cater your plan to those who are cautious, then everybody's going to respect what you're doing, your new procedures to keep your employees and your customers safe. And you know, they say the faster we can adhere to this, the faster we'll get back to business as usual, which I certainly hope is the case.
Agreed. So I just wanted to show everybody what this is what the resource looks like, the folder that we're going to share the link. We have the executive order and the frequently asked questions. We have the Department of Health and Human Services Phase 1 presentation about it if you need it, if your business is maybe higher level than retail and needs the whole thing for, maybe an industry or that sort of thing. We have the signage. They have also, I showed you the one, but they also have the occupancy, which you're going to need. Missy and I had some discussion about that. Make sure that you have printed this and labeled the occupancy for your business. Also, the slides from today will be in there. And then we also have a checklist and planning document. And so this is what we were talking about. You don't have to necessarily build the plan. There's a really great checklist that was done for you by the Department of Health and Human Services that goes over some of the things that we discussed. And again, everything's going to have their logo, the Stay Strong NC. That's a great social media tool as well that you can brand yourself with that. If you go to the website, they have that information on there too. So we're going to be sharing this link. Matter of fact, I'm going to put it in the chat box now. And I'll send that to everybody. We do have some other folks on here who I think maybe might have some things to add. Let's see if I still have Justin. One of my board members, Justin Bill, he also owns some retail businesses and has a short order grill, French's Corner. So he's had to do some adjustments and is pretty creative. And I had asked him to be on just to kind of add to and discuss. Justin, are you around right now? You might be on a call, so I don't know. Let's see. There you go.
I'm good.
Okay.
So hello everybody. Yeah, we've actually been working really close with Erica and her team out there. With disinfecting, and she's right. You have to clean and then disinfect. We have had to make some adjustments moving forward with the plexiglass and changing our dine-in to takeout and delivery only. Just kind of listening on the call, I do think that as we begin to reopen, some of this material will become scarce. So maybe it might be worth reaching out to Diane, maybe a contact at Lowe's or maybe even Ross with Saunders, and maybe putting together something for these people that are having to build the plexiglass shields and stuff. Excuse me, to keep people from kind of walking around aimlessly out in the public looking for what they need. Maybe we could all I could get together with Ross or something, and we can kind of put together a kit to where it's you walk in, you grab the kit, and you leave, and pretty much everything is there that you need to build the kit with. I know myself, I did not want to drill holes in the ceilings or our countertops, so we kind of came up with a different way to support the plexiglass without doing so. So, I mean, that can be an option that we can talk to these people, these businesses about, and assist them in getting, the shields and stuff up and in place.
That's a great idea, Justin. And also, I've been trying to pull resources together. I am going to have some masks available, a very small quantity, and hopefully getting a larger quantity. We've discussed hand sanitizer, but I've had several businesses call, and it's just been really difficult to find cleaning chemicals and solutions. And then you talk about the kits with the plexiglass and things. So maybe there's some more work that could be done around that. I like your point. We don't want people wandering aimlessly around some of these stores just looking for stuff. So it could help our member businesses to have the things ready, and help people be safer, but also it can help both sides of member businesses, the one who's the vendor and the one who's the customer looking for it to provide for their customers. So I've written that down. That's something I'll follow up with you on. That's a really great idea.
Yeah.
2 or 3 kinds of kits.
Yeah. We could, and I'm not poking fun at anybody, but some of your female-owned businesses that are not, and male as well, that don't have any construction or that type of mentality, we're putting them at risk by walking around, seeing what will work and talking to different people. And it may be that, which we have sanitizer at both of our stores. We can, like I said, get together with like a kit, bring Erica and the DHS in, and we can mix up, Clorox and disinfecting bottles to where, and we can write the ratio on the bottle to where these businesses that are opening and will plan to open, we're giving them a good jump start on what they need. Those of us that have been doing it and been working through it, what they need and how, things need to be done moving forward.
And can I just, this is Erica, I'm sorry, I just jump out there because I know what you said that people are having difficulties finding chemicals. So last time I was in Walmart, the entire side with the cleaning chemical was completely gone. There was no bleach. But as you guys are aware, pool season is coming. Pool chlorine disinfectant can also be used for your disinfectant to mix your bleach water bottles. Just know that it's a little higher percentage of chlorine, so you need to use less of it if you just cannot get bleach. That's just another option of bleach available right now.
Thank you for that. And so I just was told that the link didn't work to the whole folder. Try that one. Y'all let me know if it works. I'm sorry. And we will be posting that in the Facebook. And then as we move forward, I think it's something that Missy and I will probably use to update as there's new signage or new resources and that sort of thing. Justin, thank you for that. We'll follow up. That's good.
Well, one other thing,
yeah,
if I can, real quick. I'm actually working with another small business here locally, and we have designed, and we're just waiting on the material to get here now. But we are going to be making. You guys may have seen it online. These kind of, it fits on your keychain. And it's made to where it works on touch screens. So it's a barrier for opening doors, closing doors, elevators, ATMs, gas pumps, all that stuff. And it's made from a antimicrobial material to where it will not harbor germs and stuff like that. So hopefully that material should be here in the day to day, first of next week. And then we're going to get cranking on getting some of those out for sale to the general public, to where it's just that extra barrier moving forward.
Perfect. That's great. Another person that I had asked to be on the call was Leanne with the city of Reidsville as their HR person. Not to be considered by any means giving advice, but just in general conversation. Leanne, I've called you. What should people be thinking about as they're trying to think about their staff and resources and essential employees and non-essential in the opposite direction now that we're going back to work and trying to restaff and honestly figuring out what the new staffing or different staffing needs are?
Thank you, Diane. So I think the first thing you've got to always remember is your employees are your most valuable asset. So you've got to take care of them. As you're preparing to reopen, you've also got to consider the safety, health, and welfare of your employees. We've talked some about these plexiglass shields. If that's the best way for you to keep your employees safe, keep your employees safe with plexiglass shields. I think we're going to see a period of time where we're used to seeing people in masks. I stopped by a local small business yesterday on the way home from work, and the proprietor was wearing a mask and I was wearing my mask. Neither one of us thought it was odd. Masks are going to become very difficult to find, I think, as we move through this. There are a number of church groups and quilting clubs around that may be available to produce some masks. I know that Judy Yarborough, our city marketer, has ordered some branded masks for City of Reidsville employees. The hand sanitizer, they've got to keep using hand sanitizer. I don't know that gloves are going to be the very best option. I think frequent use of hand sanitizer probably provides better protection for your employees and your customers than gloves. you put gloves on and suddenly you think you're a superwoman and you can touch and do anything and you're not going to be at risk for contracting an illness. And so the hand sanitizer is probably a much better option. Think about how your staff counts in the maximum occupancy as laid out by the state. You got to count your people that are in there working towards that maximum occupancy. You don't get to deduct them so that you can have additional customers and clients in your building. Can you reduce your staffing because you're going to have fewer people to wait on or fewer customers to meet with? We here at the city are going to continue to have our facilities closed throughout phase 1. City Hall will still be by appointment only. Parks and Rec will remain closed. The Senior Center will remain closed. We are looking forward to phase 2 and maybe being able to reopen some of these locations for us. But we really are very concerned as an employer about what does it look like if we lose 10% of our employee population because they're out sick? What does it look like if we lose 20% of our employee population? What services do we have to stop providing at that point? And heaven forbid, what does it look like if we're down 50%? Can we still provide the services to the residents and cities, the residents of the city of Reidsville, if we're operating at 50% capacity in our employee population? So I think those are probably things that y'all need to think about too. What does it look like if you've only got half of your people available to work? And how do you manage that? And what's the impact of that?
I would agree with that, Leanne. And to add to that, I think one of the things, I was on a call, Jeff hosted our Reidsville Industrial Alliance this week, and Dr. Shotwell was with us, and I was very pointed in asking him what he thought things looked like for the future for the school system and what the state was saying and what the county was planning, because I have said this from the beginning and will continue to say, our workforce looks different as long as the school system looks different, because as long as families are having to do virtual learning or A day, B day, or struggling with childcare, and as long as there is federal legislation, you know, backing some of that stuff up, things are going to look different and our workforce is going to look different.
So that's all I've got, unless anybody has specific questions that they would like to ask.
Okay, perfect. And I would like to add too that just as a statement, the chamber will also continue to be closed and by appointment, again, due to our tenants and our workforce. And the we have also, with Judy, that's where our masks that I mentioned earlier are coming from. I have also ordered some of the Team Reidsville masks. We will have some for sale. I'm hoping to be able to get a second round of those, but we're waiting to hear about quantities. So Leanne, thank you so much. That was really insightful. And I think one of the main points, I know something that Eric and I have discussed for restaurants that makes it difficult, you have to include your employees in that count. So if you've got workers that already is, and you already have a very small restaurant, then you're going to be in not very, not a great place to offer dining, and maybe you want to consider continuing to do takeout. So, Adam, I know you're still hanging out too. I see you. I know there was another round of grants this week, and I know that the county's been doing some things. Do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, so we did send out some, I believe we got the emails out already to everybody for the second round. There is a little bit of money still trickling in from some of our other partners, so we will have a few more grants coming out. I don't have an exact number yet, but yeah, no, we have been able to get out a good bit, and it's been, I know there's been some heavy grants in Reidsville and also around the county. No, again, kind of to mirror what Susan was saying, what some of the others are saying, I think everybody right now that I'm getting at least questions on is just how it's going to look when it's reopened in terms of what are going to be the stipulations and things like that. I know you already put up that one worksheet. I know that there was one that came down to our office from Johns Hopkins University on different ways to kind of evaluate your business in terms of how to open or things to think about while opening. And I can shoot that to you in an email, Diane. You can distribute that as needed.
And I actually have that, Adam, and it's already in that resource folder. I'm going to share it. while you're talking. Go ahead.
Perfect. Okay, yeah, I couldn't remember if it had gotten pushed out or not, but no, for the most part, it's been slowing down in terms of people calling. But again, we're still just kind of, I think everybody's kind of starting to figure out how it's going to look when it's reopened. Yeah, so hopefully we'll. I think I've got a lot of good information so far, but yeah, I don't have too terribly much to add to that, though, from what everybody else has already said.
Yeah, and like Jeff said, stuff hasn't really changed, and like Susan said, it's kind of slow right now. But on the screen, thank you for bringing it back full circle. If anything, you helped me do that. One of the things that's in that folder is a spreadsheet of links. The City of Reidsville's COVID link is there, the Chambers is there, and then the Department of Health and Human Service, where a lot of the materials that we talked about today came from. The American Industrial Hygiene Association also is a really great, they have a Back to Work Safely website, and they've got some really great pieces on there. But to Adam's point, the John Hopkins resource, let me see if I can get my screen back. Y'all, I've not done a lot of sharing screen stuff, so I'm trying to figure that part out. Did it take me there? I don't know. Let me see. So I tried to click on it. Let's see. There we go. It's going. So the John Hopkins website, they have got some really cool, they have an assessment calculator and the risk worksheet that Adam was talking about. They're all here. So all that information is in the folder for you. And I'm happy to make sure that people share that. And Erica shared a really great a basic mask making video by the U.S. Surgeon General. That's another great thing. I know there are ways to make masks that are very easy for those of you that don't even sew. I had actually looked at a couple of those myself. I'm trying to see if I don't want to miss anybody that I had asked to be on the call. If anybody that I asked to be on here, if I've missed you, I know Tracy had to jump off because she had a call. Please speak up because I don't recognize some of the numbers and things. But also, if anybody else has any comments or questions, we'd love to take those. And I'm going to hop to JR because look, he unmuted himself. He knew I was coming anyways. Hey, buddy.
Hey, Diane, what's going on? So real quick, I ordered some masks a while back. They're all cloth masks. I had in my mind I was going to donate them to hospice or another healthcare center, but somebody said that the cloth masks just aren't helpful for a healthcare environment. I've probably got, let's say, about 25 masks. Anybody know where I could donate those to that would be grateful and useful, not just as a gesture, but actually helpful?
Well, I would say that you're right about the healthcare thing. I have several ideas about that, but I don't want to jump in front of anybody. The kind that we've ordered are also cloth masks, just as can we just talk about masks in general for a minute? So one of the things about that, I'm glad that you said that, people need to be reminded that wearing a mask is to protect other people. When we're talking about wearing them out in public, because you don't know whether or not you have symptoms. A lot of people are asymptomatic, and you could be spreading the virus without knowing it. And that's something I've seen on a lot social media, people talking about, well, I don't get near people, I stay to 6 feet and we wash our hands. Well, that's great, but if you have it, you could be exposing people and not know it. And so I would say, JR, you've got some connections in Eden and Reidsville. You may have some business owners that would be grateful for those, to be able to reuse them in their stores. Somebody's in the chat box, so I don't know if somebody's got an idea.
Well, I've also thought about just handing them out to clients as they come in. I've thought about just utilizing them here in the office. I've given some to staff, and so I might just continue that trend as I'm sure they'll be utilized here in the office if I hold on to them long enough. But didn't know if there's like a great need for some cloth mask anywhere, but it sounds like most people have access to those that want them.
Maybe you may have some of you're really involved in the Eden Chamber too. You may have, you've got a chamber employee there who might need one, or some of your downtown merchants or some of the other people.
Good point.
So there's some ideas, and some of ours too. I mean, you've got Reidsville connections, so.
Well, I'll hand them out in 1s and 2s instead of a bulk 25 to somebody.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I think that would be great. So,
Well, and JR, if you have some friends in restaurants, I've spoken to several restaurants that have told me that they can't get them, that they've tried to order them and they've not
there
been
you
able
go.
to access, and that would be helpful, especially because some of the thicker masks are difficult to breathe when you're cooking, so they may be interested in those thinner cloth masks.
Okay. Thank you, restaurants.
I was hoping you were going to pop out, Erica, but I didn't want to call you out specifically. So thank you for that. And I was going to say, JR, that's what I would think. I would think your business folks who need them for themselves and their employees. So if you've got some clients that are business owners or whatever, that would be my suggestion to you. All right. So I know that we have kind of wrapping up here. We lost Jeff because he has a staff call, and I see Missy's still with us, but you got to go.
Yep.
You got anything you want to add?
Diane.
Yeah. Hold on.
Diane, I was just going to say, this is Christy. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. Missy's got to go to a staff call. Are you good, Missy? Do you have anything else you need to add?
Nope.
Thank you for going through the slides and for being
All right.
a partner on this. See you soon.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
All right, go for it, Christy. Yes, ma'am.
Hi. Okay. I was just going to say simple. I just tell people about the webinars that Workforce Unlimited is offering on Tuesdays. If you want some information, just let me know. They're every Tuesday at 12, and next week we actually have a panel from a medical system that'll be joining us talking about screening and testing as you do return back to work. This last week we talked about, we had a couple of people from business and an insurance company talking about what it's like and who's responsible if someone does get sick, and how the company can handle those things. So we've got some great seminars planned for the future too, but I've got those recordings if anybody's interested.
Yes, ma'am. Will you pop that link in the chat really quick too that you had sent me so that everybody could have that? I
am actually just on the phone, so how can I?
You know what? I think there's a way. I haven't done it yet, but there's a way to follow up. And I took a picture so I know who was on the call. I'm going to try to do a follow-up email with all the information from Jacqueline down to everything from where she started. I've written everything down, and so we'll just include all that information so that everybody can have it.
Okay, awesome.
Thanks so much, Christy. I appreciate it. Workforce is doing a great job. We appreciate y'all.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. I know we've got a couple of our other businesses on here. I've seen some downtown folks. Barbara DeJournette, did you have anything you wanted to add or ask?
Yes, I did. I just wanted to add that everybody's been so helpful around here, especially the health department, helping us with our staff. And we found that by cleaning 2 or 3 times a day and then cleaning our vans as they come back in and carry our passengers, that it has made our drivers and our employees feel very comfortable. And we suggest that people continue to clean and do everything on a regular basis. We did find it a little hard to get some supplies at one time, so we're in touch with a couple of companies trying to get them to start supplying us with the needed supplies. And masks, we have a few people who made us some, but we're trying to stick with the N95 if we can. But it's been working out pretty good, and you guys have really, really been helpful to us.
Well, we appreciate y'all, and I'm so glad that Tan was able to find that contact for what you needed, and we're still continuing to try to collect information and be helpful with resources. So I'm glad to hear it, Barbara, because I know that that's really important with you guys transporting a lot of folks to their very needed medical appointments. So thank you for what you're doing.
And if we can help anybody by talking about what we've done and things like that, we'd be glad to talk to you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Sarah, you've been so good and been on all of our calls. Do you have any updates for you or any questions that you might have for anybody?
No, I think it's really great that the community is doing this, that you guys doing it, a lot of information. I feel back to my partner, so I go on the calls and then I'm able to field back everything of what we need to do here. Again, it's been really great. I think we're all ready to reopen and kind of see where this goes. So thank you for all the information.
You are so welcome. Hey, Denise, I saw you joined us. Do you have anything you want to add from the ABC store or anything in general?
Hey, well, with ABC store, we're going to continue as is for now, just for the
comfort and peace of mind of our employees. We're going to continue to only let 2 people in at once. We feel like people are kind of going back to doing, just as they go back to work, they're starting to do what we've been doing for a while. So we're going to hang on with this another couple of weeks and see how it's going, and then we'll start having people come into the store, but just on a small number at a time. And y'all have probably talked about hand sanitizer with me just jumping in, but I forgot to mention on the chamber call yesterday that Patrick has that, and I know that there's some other sources too, but Carneades does have hand sanitizer, gel sanitizer if anybody's interested. And I think that's about all I have.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, ma'am. All right, so I'm looking to see, I'm going through all my stuff. Megan, I see that you're here. I don't know if you have anything that you want to say or add. And I don't even know if you might be available if you're just listening to more than one thing. Are you there?
Hey, Diane, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I can now.
Hey. Thank you very much for the information and for allowing us to be a part of this phone call and gathering things. I'm sitting in for Kathy Powers today, so she'll be the one joining, I'm sure, from this point forward, but I will definitely relay back all the information to her. I think it's great resources that we have, and it's great that we're all pulling together as a team.
Is there anything from ADTS that you guys want to update, or is everything kind of still going along as is?
Everything's still kind of going along as is. As Barbara said, the van cleanings and things like that have been probably our biggest challenge. Most of our work stayed the same with the in-home aids. Our Meals on Wheels program obviously changed a little bit with making everything contactless, and we took it all in-house and don't have volunteers doing it right now. But so we're just kind of trugging along and waiting for phase 3, because we're thinking that that's when everything will open back up for our organization.
Okay, great. Megan, thanks for being here. We're really excited about partnering with you all on the Team Reidsville Together program as well.
And we are very thankful for that, very much. So thank you to all you guys for that partnership.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you. Let's see. And the others, I'm down to, I think I've got everybody except for some phone numbers that I don't recognize. And I know some of them are the audio to the video. So this is kind of final call. If anybody has any questions or comments or wants to add anything. I will just say that I am very, very thankful. This has been an amazing group of folks over the last several Fridays, and today was, I would consider, very much a success. Like I said, this has been recorded, so we are going to be adding this as a resource as playback for folks. So even though we didn't have a ton of others on here asking questions, we had a lot of really great discussion, and I'm very thankful for all of our partners across the city and the county. And I know that some of them have had to jump off, but I'm just really, really thankful and appreciative. So I think it was a great call. Thank you all for being on here. I was just looking to see. Yep, and I've got confirmation that everybody everybody that wanted to speak has spoken. So happy Friday, everybody. At 5 o'clock, we are in phase 1. And as we said, that's not much of a change. So please continue to be cautious, practice social distancing, wear your mask, wash your hands, and use the resources that we have provided. Thank you all so much. Have a good weekend.
Diane. Thank you. You have a great weekend.
You too.
This is Paige from Blessings.
Hey, Paige.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
All right. I just wanted to let you know, and if anybody needs anything, I have 2 vendors that are actually making the cloth mask.
Wonderful. I did not know that.
So, yes. And so they have been nonstop since all this started. And they're going to be taking orders through the store if anybody wants to place orders. And they're usually about a 24 to 48 hour turnaround if you don't order more than 10.
Okay, perfect. And this is Paige with Blessings by the Bushel. She's one of our merchants downtown in Reidsville. So I can put that information in the follow-up email as well. Thank you, Paige. I didn't know that. I'm happy to include it.
Thank you.
Did you want to add anything else?
No, that's all. We'll be open tomorrow.
Okay, perfect. Good luck.
Thanks.
And Paige is also one of our merchants on the Team Reidsville Together program. So y'all make sure that y'all go on there and support that. As you buy gift certificates, they'll get matched. So, all right. Well, have a good weekend. Thank you all.
Thank you.